Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here, and welcome to BMTV. We are joined this week by Chris Horn from Amscan. Chris, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Now, Chris, you can probably see this thing. There's no hiding this thing behind us. What an amazing creation this is. So today, Chris is going to show some of the techniques that he used to create this, and well, why he's made these things out of foil balloons. So Chris, over to you.
Okay. It all started because of the increase in the trend for organic decor.
Yeah.
Which is basically all done with latex balloons.
Yep.
And anybody that knows who I am and where I come from will realise that I focus 90% of my effort on foil balloons.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to miss out.
Okay.
So I was trying to find a way of using foil balloons to create the organic effect.
Yeah, yeah.
I tried it out just using different foil balloons inflated in the normal way of different sizes, and it looks really very good. But I wanted to take it that one step further, and I've been ironing foils because that's exactly what it is for years, just to put little seals in here and there, or take a point off or something like that. And I wanted to develop that and see where it would go. And so some of these shapes are the result of that. Now, I'm not saying for a minute that is immediately commercial. You know, there's quite a lot of work and effort goes into it, but elements of it can be used in all sorts of different ways. Yeah. So I think it's a very valuable technique to know and to practice. And I'd just like to show you how it's done. Please do.
Now, but before we start, ironing.
Yeah.
I see you've got an iron here.
I have. I've got 3.
Okay. You're going to have to explain that to me.
I will.
Because ironing just seems to be complete. Is that all, you know, we use heat sealers to heat seal balloons like this.
It's exactly the same technique. A heat sealer applies heat to the balloon, and the 2 internal surfaces, which are covered with plastic, the plastic melts, fuses together and forms a seal. Okay. That's how a balloon is made. The seal around the edge is made by applying heat. So taking that further, that's the way a heat sealer will work. But that just gives you a straight line of a fixed thickness. Yeah. If you can apply the heat in a different way to get different widths and shapes, then it stands to reason you can get all sorts of different effects. So that's where the iron comes in.
Okay. All right. That's.
You can use any iron you like. I mean, you could use the one that you use to iron your shirts with, although I wouldn't advise it because the ink comes off of the balloon onto the iron. So, yeah, and it'd be a bit unwieldy as well. Yeah. Great big steam iron.
It would be, yeah.
But you can use a simple travel iron like this. And I know that for a fact because I was travelling overseas to demonstrate this technique once and forgot to take the craft iron with me. And I bought this from Curry's in Heathrow Airport, and it works fine. Yeah. So, you know, it's a good way of testing this out to see whether you like the technique or not.
How much is a travel iron?
You can get one from as little as a tenner.
Oh, right, okay.
Very reasonably priced.
Worth a go.
Yeah, it's worth a go. You might even have one lying about that you don't use very often. So you can use that. But if you are going to go, you know, use it more often, then I'd suggest getting a proper craft iron. That's what this is. I bought it from a well-known internet retailer. And I think it cost me about £20. The beauty of it is that it's got a thermostatic thing on there, so you know exactly how hot it is.
180 degrees, that's the temperature it is outside today, Chris.
The inside, look at me, it's really hot in here. I know 180 degrees is the 180 to 200 is the right temperature to get a good seal. If you're using a travel iron, just set it on cotton. That's good enough. Okay. It might take a little bit longer, but it works. So, yeah, thermostatic thing. It's got a small head, nice handle so you can control the motion really well. And that will work for most of what we're going to do. I'm going to start with the simplest seal, which is to make a leaf out of a star. Most people will already be familiar with this, either have done it themselves or seen it done, where you just put the star into a heat sealer and press it down and put the seal lengthwise.
Wouldn't that seal the valve? Oh, there's no valve.
There's no valve in these small ones. So in that case, no. But what can happen is if you get the seal, if you get it slightly off centre and it touches one of the edge seals, then you'll have cut off a part of the balloon that won't inflate. So you've got to be careful that your seal goes from the middle of the balloon and a little bit away from where the neck of the balloon is. And then both sides will inflate. The issue with using a heat sealer is that the end of the seal sometimes will burn through,
Yeah.
or it won't be very wide, and when you inflate it, it'll split.
Yeah.
So since I started using the iron, I've discovered that it's an awful lot easier if you just fold the balloon in half, like that, and then you use the very edge of the iron plate, and you just literally just press it down, just a couple of millimeters, and that's it.
Wow.
So you just make a little seal, starting just in from the neck, right to the end, press it down like that, and because you folded it, it gives you a seal down the centre of the balloon.
Yeah. I've got to ask, Chris, thank you for not doing that on our table directly,
Yeah.
but what is this?
This is Teflon heat matting.
Okay.
Again, available from a well-known internet outlet. I think I paid about £5 for that piece.
Okay.
That's folded double because we don't need it.
So
that
it's not
big,
just
but-
greaseproof paper?
No, it's not.
'Cause that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
actual proper Teflon coated heat sensitive stuff. Yeah, then when you inflate it, you just inflate it as normal like that, and there's your
Oh, look at that.
your little leaf. Now these need to be sealed. If you've got a bar sealer, you can use that, obviously, but I've got the iron, so you don't actually need to use your bar sealer at all. You can just press it down like that.
Wow. That is so fast.
It is very quick.
Yeah.
So it starts to become a usable technique, because
so
if you can make them that quick.
Exactly. I thought this was going to be a really big, intricate, sort
Yeah.
of difficult
At this
technique.
level now,
Okay.
we'll get there.
All right.
Okay, so you can do the same thing with a 9-inch.
Yeah.
I've got one here that I already did just to save filming time, but it's exactly the same. Folded in half, heat seal it down, gives you a slightly larger one. Now, it is possible to do the same thing with a standard sized star or even a jumbo.
Okay.
You do, though, on this occasion, need to be aware of the valve that's in there.
Yeah.
So you can't seal across the valve.
Yep, obviously.
Well, you can, but it's inadvisable. And so you either start your seal here past the end of the valve, which obviously isn't going to work, or you move the valve. It's really simple. Balloon straw, push it in through the valve like that, slide the valve out of the way.
Such a clever
So
idea.
I've pushed that there like that. Now I can fold the balloon. I'm not even going to stress too much about it being right central, because it doesn't matter. It's organic after all.
That's the great thing about organic
It's marvellous,
design,
isn't it? You don't have to be too perfect, do you? Having said that, I found it very difficult to adapt. I've spent probably nearly 30 years teaching myself to get all the balloons exactly the same size and all perfectly lined up. And it's really hard to get out of that, to go back to the beginning almost.
Yeah, yeah.
But I did look, I sort of made a joke, and I looked at my earlier, the very beginning, the work at the very beginning, which wasn't so well sized. And I thought, I was doing organic 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I looked at the photographs of those, and it's not. Getting organic right is actually quite difficult.
Yeah.
Anyway, seal that up the middle, then you can take the balloon straw out and inflate it. And this time you don't need to seal it, obviously, because it will seal itself. So you make a larger leaf that way.
Oh, so you've left a gap down there
Yeah.
so that the air can... Oh, yeah, that's brilliant. Look at that.
The beauty of doing it with an iron is that you get a much stronger seal. So it's almost as strong as the ones around the edge.
Yeah.
So you can inflate it nice and tight. And it gives you a really interesting effect. So when it comes to Christmas, you can make holly leaves to go on tops of other balloons, underneath the bases of centerpieces.
Yeah.
There's loads and loads and loads of possibilities for even something as simple as that. Obviously that's aimed at an autumn kind of event. Thanksgiving, which we don't celebrate here, but our parent company is going to love that when I send them a picture. So it's very good for all that kind of thing. So if we take it to the next level, then we can take that same seal, the straight seal. This time I'm going to put it in a round balloon instead of a star. So let's use a yellow one. We need to get the valve out of the way. Fold it in half.
That's such a clever little trick. I've never thought of doing that.
So it took me a while to fathom it out. Once I fathomed it out, I thought, oh, why didn't I think of that earlier?
Everything's easy once you know how.
It is, isn't it? It's absolutely, that is words of wisdom there. Once you know how, it's easy, and once you've practiced it a bit. Because I can guarantee that when you try this the first time, it won't go quite as easily as it is for me now. But it will become so. So I put the straight seal up the middle.
Yeah.
Like I did with the star. I'm now going to push the valve back up the middle there and take the stick out because I don't need that anymore. Now I'm going to use the flat of the iron, turn it over because it's easier, to go around the edge. So I'm actually going to iron a chunk of the balloon flat. And I'm still keeping it folded because that means I only need to do it once. I'm doing both sides at the same time, effectively.
Oh, so is that actually sealing one side to the other side?
It is sealing, yes, it's sealing the balloon shut, if you like, around the edge.
Oh.
Now I started off wide here and I'm narrowing it to a point at the top. And then back again and narrowing it to a point at the bottom. You'll notice I'm not actually ironing.
Yeah.
I'm pressing it down. If you iron it, the whole thing will just crinkle up.
Yeah, okay.
So press it down. If you want to sort of double check that you've got it all right, now you can iron it because once they're stuck together, they're not going to crinkle.
Yeah.
Okay, now take particular care of this. Look along the edge of the seal you've just put in. Make sure it's smooth. You haven't got any jaggy bits.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to sort of...
I'm intrigued what this is going to look like.
Check it, yeah.
Can you inflate it?
Just going to get a nice smooth seal all the way down. So there's no edges, no jags.
So is this a known technique that people use, or is this something... Because I've not seen anybody using this except you.
The first time I saw this done was at one of the IBACs in Chicago in 1990-something, early 90s.
Yeah.
And one of the designers there was ironing balloons, but they were just ironing the whole thing to make basically a flat sheet of foil, and then rolling it up and using it. But at the time I thought, oh, that looks useful. And I just developed it by ironing parts of balloons. You get all sorts of different effects. So I'm double checking that it's gone through to both sides. If you can see any bits that look as if they're not sealed, then do it again on the other side. And then you can inflate it. Now this is going to kind of behave a bit like an orb.
Oh.
In as much as it will split open as we inflate. Give it a bit of a helping hand if needs be.
Ah, that's interesting.
And then we've got that shape. Now, by using the iron unprotected, if you like, it lifts the ink off in certain places. I like that. I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah.
If you're not, you can lay a cloth over the balloon first to stop that happening, and it will only happen on one side.
Yeah.
So if you're using it in a design like this where you're looking at one side, you have a choice. But that's a different kind of leaf with a frilly edge to it.
Yeah, that's really nice. I like that. Wow.
Do the same with hearts if you want to, stars, any shape of balloon.
Yeah.
You can get all sorts of effects. So I'm just showing you a few ideas, and you'll have to go away and experiment then to get different things yourself.
Yeah, let us know as well. Send pictures if you do this. Send pictures of what you create. Yeah. Okay, what else have we got?
Right, so we've done two shapes of leaf. We've done a sort of holly leaf shape and this sort of frilly edge. I'm going to use a curve balloon now.
Ooh.
To make the more traditional leaf shape with the vein down the middle.
So you said you were, when you were in last time, you talked about the curve and you were involved. Is that your creation?
Yeah.
You created
I did, yes. It was my idea in the first place.
The presence of an inventor. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's proved to be really good. You know, some people have really embraced these, and I look online and I see some of the things that people have done with them, and it's very satisfying.
Yeah.
It's great.
Cool. Anyway.
Right, so this time we want to put a seal right down the middle, a curved seal down the middle of a curved balloon. So obviously we can't fold it.
No.
Could use the edge of this to put your curve in, and it does work, and I have done it, but it is awkward. So if you're prepared to, and you're willing, then you can get one of these. This is basically a soldering iron.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's another one with a thermostat on there.
Cool.
I've set this a little bit higher at 200 because the narrowness of the tip means that if it's any cooler than that and you move too quickly, it doesn't seal properly. So I've just upped it a bit. But yeah, it's a soldering iron, and I'm going to use that like a pen.
Okay.
So find where the valve is. Because it's a curve, the valve is off to one side anyway, so you're all right. You can start there, and then literally just draw the shape that you want with your soldering iron, like that, like a pen. Don't go too fast because you need the heat to transfer all the way through the balloon to the other side. And you can make it as wiggly or as straight as you fancy.
So that's actually properly sealing it, even
Properly
because that seems quite
sealing it.
quick to me. So you don't do it too quick. That seems.
Yeah, it is quite fast, but
Yeah.
so that's all it takes really. I'm going to turn it over again and just double check. You can see the seal on the other side. You
Yeah.
can see that I've not missed any bits.
Yeah.
Right, now here's the really important tip. Let's go back over to the other side where we were. That end is a very weak point, because when you inflate the balloon, it will inflate all the way around that point, and all of the stress will be there. And just leaving it like that will tend to tear apart.
Okay.
So if you just use your soldering iron again, and you just sort of put a blob, a round shape
Yeah.
on the end there.
Okay.
And then when we inflate it, we should have a leaf shape. It's really very simple, all of this.
It's like I say, you need to know. But
There
that,
we go.
and that just looks so different to anything.
It's changed it completely, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This here, this seed pod kind of looking thing, is using the same techniques but a very different balloon.
Okay.
So it's using an orb.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Do you call it an orb or do you call it an orbs balloon? I get
I
confused.
call them all. I call it an orb if there's one, which is probably incorrect because it does actually say
It's
orbs.
an orbs balloon.
Yes.
That's what I say. I'm not trying to correct you. I'm just
Yeah,
asking what
I'm
you say.
probably the one that's wrong.
It is an individual orb. You are
It
right
is,
though. So
yes.
let's call it an orb. It's an orb.
It's a yes. Okay, it's an orb. Leave it flat like that. Use the same method that we did to make the frilly leaf. So
Yeah.
the flat of the iron, and I'm going to take it from the centre like that up to the points. Now it behaves differently because the foil for the orbs is different to standard foil. It's a slightly different composition, so it behaves slightly differently when you heat it, but not much.
Does the foil actually stretch?
Yeah, yeah. If you imagine the foil as, well, I use the analogy of a ham sandwich. Okay. So there's 3 layers, 2 layers of bread and a filling.
Yeah.
So standard foil for standard balloons, super shapes and all the others, is a ham sandwich, and the top layer of bread is aluminium, which is what keeps the gas in. Very thin though, and very flimsy. The bottom layer of bread is the polythene, which is what enables the seals to be made.
Yeah.
And the ham in the middle is a nylon mesh.
Okay.
And that gives integrity and strength to it all.
Yeah.
Okay. For the orbs, it's a beef sandwich.
All right.
So you've still got the same bread on either side, but the filling, instead of being a nylon mesh, is a plastic mesh. It's made of a slightly different composition, so it's elastic, and it enables the film to stretch slightly.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the orbs do what they do.
We really like the orbs. We just think they give that added bit of volume.
As long as people inflate them properly.
Yeah.
You know, we do have a bit of an issue with people not understanding how to inflate them.
I love the little thing though to help you inflate them.
Oh, I'm sorry to disappoint you. That's going.
Oh, I really like that. I really like that.
Yeah, it was
even
very
idiots
clever.
like me can do it.
It
and
was
do the same
extremely clever, but it's going because people were relying on it too much. And if they didn't stick it on properly in the first place, then
Get it wrong.
It's kind of like watching the sat-nav and driving into a canal.
Yeah.
Forgetting to look out the windscreen. You need to watch the balloon as well. So we've actually discontinued that, and then just encouraging people to inflate them till the wrinkles
In
are
that
gone.
case, we should do a BMTV basics, balloon basics show on that. Let's do that.
We can do that, that's no problem. Okay, so I've done one side.
Okay.
I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. With the orbs, you may need to iron both sides of each edge, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Because we're working through 4 layers of foil here instead of 2.
Yeah.
So the heat has a little bit further to transfer, but we'll have a little look. Now the width of the seal that you're putting in will determine the finished look of it. So if you want a longer, thinner shape with quite big sort of fins down the side, then make a wider seal. If you want a rounder one, make a narrower seal. So I've done that side and the underneath. I'm going to flip it over and just double check that I've got a nice smooth edge and that the seal down both sides. Now, did you see that? I don't know whether the camera picked that up.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
There's a hole.
You've got a hole. Oh.
There was something on something. There's a bit of dirt somewhere. Doesn't matter. I just iron over it like that. Make sure that it's within the seal area.
Really?
And it's not going to be an issue. And on that note, you see, now then, now that you've got your iron and you're doing this kind of thing, you know when you get a balloon and it splits at the seam?
Yeah.
Well, you can fix them. Because all you need to do is lay it out and just iron a little bit in past the split, reseal it along the edge, and you fixed your balloon. So there's more to this than just the creative arty stuff. It's actually quite practical as well once you've got the hang of it. Right, so I've just double checked that and made sure it's absolutely smooth all the way along. And then we can re-inflate this one. I'm inflating all these with a hand pump because the custom seal that we put in isn't going to be as strong as the manufactured one.
Yeah.
So you don't want to sort of go at it gung-ho with an electric air inflator and split it. So here we go. You also don't inflate this tight like you do an orb.
Yeah.
You kind of stop with this one as if it were a standard foil.
Okay. Why is that? So it doesn't
because
break that seal.
Now, it would break the seal.
I
If we
see.
tried to stretch it so all these wrinkles went, the seal would probably break. But we're after this sort of look of a seed pod.
Yeah.
And I think those wrinkles help.
It really is an organic feel when you've got the wrinkles there, and I really like this.
I love these. I think of all the shapes, this one I enjoy more than anything.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of fun. Now, I did try something. I pre-prepared one, and I haven't inflated this, so I don't know what it's going to do.
Ooh.
So we'll do this live on BMTV.
Live on BMTV.
And it'll probably be a disaster.
It's a first. Let's find out what happens.
Only because some of the comments that people have made about the orb one particularly relates to the way the texture of the foil here. They don't like it. They wish it was smooth and shiny. Now, personally, I like the contrast.
Yeah.
But they thought it'd be nice if it wasn't so crinkly. So what I used instead of the iron was the soldering iron.
Okay.
And I just put a seal all the way down. So I haven't ironed these flat. I did take it right off both ends, so this is discrete from the rest, so it's not going to inflate.
Okay.
I suppose another thing we could test, but I'll leave that to you to have a go, is if you left it open at the end and let these pieces inflate, what would that look like? Don't know. But just have to keep trying, experimenting. So let's do this one and see how it compares. So the shape's the same.
Yeah.
But the texture, the texture's different because we've now got these as shiny instead of matte.
Yeah.
So, choices, options.
Yeah.
So instead of using the flat iron, use the soldering iron.
I think I prefer the more organic version, but I can understand why people would want the shininess as well.
Yep.
So there you go. Live, an exclusive.
An exclusive.
Thank you for that.
Right, so the last one that I'm going to show you is this one here. I'm not quite sure what it looks like. It's just interesting.
Yeah, I thought it looked very sea creature-ish.
Yes.
In fact, a lot of what you've done could be sea, maybe not the leaves, but it could be sea creature-ish.
It could, yeah. If you did it in blues and silvers and greens, then it does look quite under the sea-ish, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of corally kind of effect.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to use the orange one actually, just to demonstrate, because I think you might see more clearly where it goes.
Can I ask about something, Chris?
Yes, please.
I see your barcode there.
Yeah, the dreaded barcode.
And I know barcodes have been a bit of an issue.
Yeah, there's lots of people worldwide can't stand them.
Yeah, I kind of understand.
So do I.
Because it's a nice, shiny, colourful balloon, and then you've got a barcode on there.
And I'm with you 100%.
Why is it?
It's there because a surprisingly large proportion of balloons, solid colour or otherwise, worldwide are sold through mass market outlets that sell them pre-inflated at till points. So, a big bunch of balloons near the till, mum comes past with the child goes, I want
Toys
a
R Us
balloon.
kind of thing.
That kind of thing.
Okay.
And they need to be scanned through the till, inflated. So they need to have a barcode in an obvious place so that the inflated balloon can be scanned. And if we were to take that away, then those customers wouldn't be able to scan the balloons, they wouldn't buy the balloons.
Yeah.
And it sounds oversimplistic, but it's absolutely true. If that was the case, we would be out of business, so would every other balloon manufacturer, and nobody would have any balloons.
Oh, right, okay.
So we don't like it, but unfortunately it's necessary.
Yeah. Well, now we know why.
It's not going anywhere fast. We're looking at different possibilities, but they all end up costing more money. That's the problem. So it's a bit of a rock and a hard place, but that's why they're there. It's not just because somebody hasn't thought about it properly. Yeah,
because I've seen the chat and some people talking about it, see if there's any more way. But now we know.
Yeah, we're doing our best. I mean, they used to have barcode on both sides.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because then it doesn't matter which way they scan it.
Yeah.
We are trying to do away with that. If you look at this, it's got the logo on one side and the barcode on the other.
Yeah.
So we're kind of trying to minimise it as much as possible, keep them as low down as possible, but they do have to be there.
Would they still work even if it didn't have the white background? Can you just print the black on there?
A lot of scanners in these places won't cope with that.
Oh, right, I see.
So it has to have the white, unfortunately. But technology is improving all the time. And if there comes a point where it is scannable without the white background, then we'll try that one, because it does make a difference.
Okay.
Okay, so the last one then is that sort of corally kind of look. And basically all we're doing, we're using the soldering iron again. You could use the edge of the craft iron. And I'm going to start from, I'm going to find where the middle of the balloon is. If you can't do all of this by eye, or if you're not confident to do this by eye, you can draw on it with a Sharpie or something and then follow the lines. It's not a problem. But there's the middle. I'm going to start at about an inch, 2.5 centimetres or so away from the centre of the balloon, and just draw my seal out to the edge.
Yeah.
Like that. And then the same the other side.
So these don't have to be absolutely straight lines, which is good for me, because there's no way I would be able to do that.
No, they don't have to be perfectly straight. Then do it quarters, but this time be aware of the valve.
Yeah.
So go slightly to one side of the valve.
So we don't need to move the valve to one side like you did
no,
before?
You can just miss the corner of it there and go out to the edge like that. And then at 180 degrees, like that. Then divide again, and then divide again.
Yeah.
So I won't waste time doing all of those, because
I bet you've got one, haven't you?
Yeah, in true Blue Peter fashion, here is one I made earlier. So let's turn it that way, it's a little clearer. You can see that we've got, I think, 16 seals, and they all start a little bit away from the centre so that the air can go in here and out into each section. You've got to be very careful about that. And each one of them has the little rounded blob on the end to protect the end of the seal. When you've done that, so this one takes a little longer than most, at least the first time, but once you've done it a couple of times it's easy. Then just inflate really carefully and slowly, so that the air has got time to move into all of the sections. If you need to, you can give it a little bit of a helping hand. There we go. Don't go too tight. And that's what you end up with.
See,
and
I thought you were going to have to manipulate it a bit more, but
no.
You could just do it like that. That's
it.
Could be a hat.
It could be all sorts of things. You can see on the thing there, I've got a latex balloon in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's just a shape, and you can use that shape in lots and lots of different ways. You can add more seals or fewer seals. You could make the seals curved.
There's really no limit, is there?
There is no limit. No.
Okay.
It's a simple technique, but it's what you do with it that's going to make the difference. So I've used that example there. I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of seal in that, but there's lots more that you can try.
I love that. I really like that, Chris.
Good.
So how do we put it all together? Obviously we've got all the aspects of it.
Yeah, got all the bits. The frame could be a hula hoop.
Yeah.
Simple hula hoop, £1 or so from wherever you want to get one from. In this case, because it's a bit larger, I've made it from a 3 metre length of poly pipe from the DIY place.
Okay.
I think it was £1.79. It was less than £2. And then a short length of dowel that fitted inside the pipe. Push it in one end, push the other end in, and that's that simple. Wrapped it all in a crepe streamer. Yeah. And then I've literally just attached these to the frame. Let me just demonstrate if I can briefly. So I put some balloon bond that you've got there, a little bit of balloon bond on the tail, laid that against the frame where I wanted to, and wrapped the tail around and stuck it to the back of the balloon. Okay. And then each one the same, and then balloon bond to each other just to hold them in place. Yeah. really simple. Yeah. So total time for that, I suppose, is about 2.5 hours. It's about an hour and a half to seal all the balloons and inflate them, and about an hour to build the frame, wrap it and stick the balloons on. It doesn't take an awful amount of time to do it. It
depends when you're using it though. I mean, like you were talking about using this as a window display, because that would stay looking good for a considerable amount of time.
Well, I don't know whether I should say this, but I made this 2 weeks ago in the showroom in Milton Keynes. Yeah. Took some photographs of it, and it's been on display there. And then I chucked it in the back of my car and drove it down here this morning, and it's still fine.
So it's been properly abused?
Oh, properly. And it will go on for weeks if necessary, probably months.
But if you were to sell that, let's talk a little bit about pricing. If you were to charge your time out of, say, £25 an hour, because we've talked about pricing quite a lot recently. Say it's £25 an hour, and it's to say it takes, you said 2.5 hours, say 3 hours, so I can do the maths.
Okay.
£75 plus the cost of materials. You could. Would you be able to sell that for £150?
Definitely 150. Yeah. I would think 100 you could possibly do, because if you actually look at it, the cost of materials is a lot smaller than you might think. Okay. Because we've only got, let's take the bigger standard size balloons because they're easy to add up. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So that's 11 standard foil balloons. Okay. What's that, £9? Yeah, something like that. Plus a couple of orbs and a few small. But so I would say if I spent £20 on materials, that's an overestimate. So yeah, £125 would actually return you a good profit. Yeah, yeah. So it's not as out of the question as you think, but the way I would tend to think of that is as an attention grabber. Yeah. When I had my stores, I would put things like that in the windows just to get people to stop and look and come in and say, how did you do that? Where did you ask questions. Once they come in the door, I've got them. So no thought of actually perhaps selling it, but
it gets
business to business. I mean, I know of a customer of ours that did a very good job last year using the curves for Dorothy Perkins across all of their stores in the country as a window display for a month.
Wow. Yeah. Chris, that is absolutely fantastic. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks so much, Chris. I really appreciate it.
And it's a bit different.
Really, a bit different. It's really different. It's great. So hopefully we'll get some people out there doing it, and send us your pictures. If you do have a play and you do some of this, send us your pictures and we'll show them on BMTV in the future.
I can't wait. I'd love to see some of those.
Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it? Anyway, Chris, thanks very much. Thank you all out there for watching. Thank you for subscribing. We'll see you next time. Bye.